Okay, just
You're gonna stumble like 4 times, I feel it.
Just stumble at all. Hold on.
4 times.
Let me lace my shoes. I'm not gonna
Calling
stumble.
God, such a bad joke.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Coffee Talk. On today's episode, we're gonna talk about something that's on everybody. Hey everybody, and welcome to Coffee Talk. And on today's episode, we're gonna talk about something that's on every parent's mind. When should I give my child a cell phone?
Good job. Okay, I was wrong.
Bam. All right, so I've personally never gone through giving children cell phones yet. My children are still younger and never had to go through this yet. But now that I've married into a family with someone that has children that already have cell phones, I want to actually defer to you, Stephanie. And I want to ask, at what age or grade level did you give the girls cell phones, and why did you decide to give them cell phones?
So, I gave the girls, I think, cell phones at the age of 10. For many reasons. I feel like because of sports, that way I can contact them. If they were at friend's house, I kind of knew like when I needed to pick them up or anything like that. And then also just so I could track where they are. Like if they weren't answering and I didn't have the parent's number, it was just easier for me to get a hold of them.
Right.
If just say practice was canceled or just anything, like any kind of issue, or the bus got into a wreck or something.
So it sounds like the ease of communication, the security of knowing where they are at times if you need to check on their phone.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense. 10 years old, that's
about 10, like 5th grade,
about
I think
5th grade.
is the
Okay.
age.
So you kind of told us why you gave it to them, when you gave it to them. So something that I feel like a lot of parents hesitate to talk about is you gave some of the pros, so what are some of the cons? Or maybe would you have handled things differently? Talk about that aspect.
So they're exposed to a lot. Sometimes it's good, they have the Google right there at their hands so they can learn things. They have TikTok, so their personalities can show. They can communicate with all of their friends pretty quickly that's not even at the same school. So if they went to another school, like when we switched, my kids still talk to their other friends very easily and they don't have to see them at school. They don't lose that connection with them. But also being exposed to the bad, there's still a lot of negatives like on TikTok and everything that's going on to the world like right now, like the war and just kids are mean, there's bullies, like there's group chats with girls. I'm just speaking of girls just right now. But if someone's not included in that group chat, like, are they talking about me? So-and-so said this, and just the screenshots that people take and the pictures that they get sent, and just, there's a lot of like cattiness sometimes that comes along with this that I think are negatives, but those are probably the main ones.
Yeah, so I think there's definitely some good stuff, and this is, again, I'm just seeing this stuff as an outsider, basically. I wasn't in the beginning phases. It's also very interesting for me, and I'm always like mentally jotting down notes of like, okay, what, the positives and the negatives of giving the boys cell phones.
But the girls were more mature and more responsible.
Yeah. So that leads me into what I was gonna ask next, which is, you kind of explained this stuff with the girls, but with the boys, we have talked about it a little bit. And when do you think you will approach a situation the same with the boys? And we always clump the boys together, but each child, do you think it'll be different?
They're 10, 9, and 7, just so you guys know.
2 and 4th grade, the top 2 are in 4th grade, and then the bottom one, the lowest is youngest is in 1st.
I don't think it'll be the same. I feel like the maturity levels are different.
Yeah.
I feel like they're not as responsible. To be honest. And giving them iPads has been like the training wheels for them. And when we ask them to pause it, or turn it off to get a shower, or because we have to leave to go do something, they act like turds. So until that changes, giving them something to carry around with them all the time, I just don't think is a great idea.
Yeah, like the iPads thing is something that we talk about all the time. It's almost like we've given them training wheels to the cell phone, which is, how do you handle this responsibility? And that's something we talked to them a little bit about, but I guess before the cell phone talk, it's a cell phone talk. I feel like it's like, did you have the talk with your kids? Like having the cell phone talk, because it is, but it's crazy because it is such, like before it was like sex is such a powerful and responsible thing in your life. You need to have a talk about it. cell phones, I would say you could argue, are even more important because of the things that they have access to. They have access to sexual stuff, like she touched on. I think you said earlier about things going on in the world. It's not that you don't want them to be aware, but back in the day, oh my gosh. But anyway, but pre-cell phone, or at least when we had, our cell phones that were a brick, you had more control. Like if your child saw these things or you wanted to talk about with them, you could explain it to them. They don't know. There's not an adult most likely sitting next to them when they accidentally, this video pops up on YouTube about something violent or sexual going on, and at what age do you feel comfortable with that? But then there's also so many positives with social media. You already said the one, they can communicate with friends, or how many kids these days are already creating their social media profiles because of sports or gaming. Whether you like it or not, it's the reality. You get noticed by doing things with sports, gaming. I still am like an old man sometimes. I'm like, I wish they wouldn't do it as much, but there's kids that are making way more money than I do playing video games, and that's how they get noticed. So there's so many pros and cons to it that I don't even want to throw out an age or anything that I feel. I would say if it was somebody pinned me down,
13.
Like, you gotta say an age. I would say somewhere between 11 and 13, or around 6th grade, give or take a grade, depending on, but it's so much depending on your child's maturity level.
It is.
Like with the girls, I can see now, like, yep, they're more mature than the boys. When I think of
they can't even keep track of their chargers. So much less.
Well, the girls have trouble with that too. Sometimes ours go missing, but that's a kid thing.
It's more preference.
Yeah, but again, there are so many pros and cons to weigh out with it that I do feel like you just got to take it by a case by case basis.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we would love to hear.
I'm just curious. Yeah, like what do you guys do? Like what age or what grade do you guys give your kids?
Yeah, did we just say a bunch of stuff that you disagree with, or
do you limit them on certain apps?
There's so many ways to approach it, and that's why we're just kind of talking it out today. It's probably the longest we've ever spent talking about it together. But yeah, we would be very curious to hear what you all
say. If we're super lame, just tell us.
Well, our kids tell us all the time, so it's not gonna hurt our feelings. But yeah, let us know. Drop in the comments below what you have done, what you plan on doing. We'd love to hear it, the pros and the cons, and we will talk to you all in the next Coffee Talk. See ya. Stephanie's had kids for much longer than I.
All right, come on.